Hi, thanks for tuning in. This is the US Futures Weekly Chart Analysis for week ending 6th of September 2024. The first chart is the US Dollar Index Futures. You can see the market's recovering a little bit down here and attempting to consolidate. We move in a bit closer. Here was the lows of the range as I've been marking it here. A little bit of an overshoot when price came down. There was a recovery in response to that. And the market's just drifted lower and closed right at this level. Now, this is a comfortable level for the market here, and it could continue to trade here for some time. The level above comes through here, and the market was unable to recover back to that level when price moved higher on this bar. That was a suggestion the market was a little bit weak, and you should pay attention to that. So don't be surprised if the market does move lower here. There's a good chance it will attempt to consolidate in here. But if these lows get broken, you've got this level down here that the market could move down to. So just watch and see how strong this period of consolidation is, as I expect the market will probably attempt to consolidate in here just below the 101. E-mini S&P, this is the S&P 500 index futures, and the market stalled a little bit more recently. You can see that as price moved higher here, volumes were certainly reducing and below average. There was a lack of demand in the market to some extent, and then when price pulled back, volumes really increased during this period here. Then when there was a response higher again, volumes reduced considerably. The market really was not joining in to push the market higher. And then when there was a test for supply, volume actually increased. And in response to that, the market's pulled back this week on a further increase in volume. So there's a fairly good chance the market will attempt to consolidate sort of in here. This is your level to watch. Here's the lows of the next range down here. I would expect a pretty good attempt to consolidate in here. But if that gets broken, this level down here around the 5,000 comes into play. US Treasury 10-year note futures. This has been a good chart to follow for some time now. There was a reluctance to move lower down here. You can see the market moves very nicely. It's clear and understandable. There's been a period of consolidation over the last month. This week, prices pushed higher. Volume has been just about average, so that's good volume. It's not low volume, it's not excessive volume, which is what you want. It's effectively true volume. There's no hidden features in there that you have to wonder about. And prices closed just above this level, showing there's a bit of strength in the market. If trading conditions remain favourable, I expect this market to make an attempt to move higher. Copper price futures. Copper price futures saw a little weakness emerge last week. On this bar, and we suggested the price could come back down and test the lows of the range around the $4. And that's exactly what's happened this week. Volume reduced considerably and was well below average, so selling pressure was not strong, and that leaves the market open for some consolidation here or even a modest response higher. But the low volume does suggest that selling pressure eased off considerably as price moved lower. Gold price futures. Gold price futures are consolidating up at this higher level up here and doing a pretty good job of it so far. Volume was slightly increased this week. It remained below average, so selling pressure is low. And when trading conditions are favourable, this market's likely to make a further attempt to push higher. Silver price futures. Silver price futures came back to consolidate this week. You can see that some supply was drawn out as price moved up to this level, and prices come back over the 2 weeks since. Spread narrowed a bit this week, volume reduced to well below average, so selling pressure has certainly eased. That leaves this market open to a further consolidation down here to build some strength, or an attempt to push higher if trading conditions are favourable. Like crude price futures have effectively broken down this week. At this stage, it's an attempt to break down, but the depth of the push lower suggests that the market will have broken down. To confirm it, you would likely see a continued push lower, downside follow through, or an attempt to push higher, which fails. So the depth of this pullback below the previous support level suggests that the market has broken down. It's probably below the last gasp levels as well, it is. So there may be an attempt here to hold on to that level here, but we'll see. The market's looking weak here. Volumes will remain well above the average, quite strong really. So the selling pressure is certainly overwhelming the demand in the market at the moment. This is the Euro US dollar currency futures. And prices pushed higher more recently and then moved into consolidation mode. Prices trading within the range of this bar, although it has come back right to its lows this week before it recovered to close about mid-bar. So this market's not as strong as some of the other currencies, but it does trade the inverse of the US dollar to a large extent, and only on its fundamentals to a modest extent. We'll switch to the British pound, which is certainly trading much more strongly than the euro. You can see the market did attempt to break out here, came back, tested the breakout for strength, and then moves higher. And this market is consolidating within the 50% level of this bar, which is considerably stronger than the euro. You just flick back, you can see the euro is trading right within this bar's full range. So it's pulled back more deeply before it's been able to recover only modestly anyway. Whereas the British pound, here's the full range of this bar, and it's trading right up here in the top 50% of that level. And that's generally an indication of underlying strength. I expect with any weakness in the US dollar, this market will attempt to push higher again. Japanese yen currency futures. You can see that some weakness emerged here. That was tested, and volume or selling pressure was found to be low. In response, price moved higher. The market came back to consolidate, and once again found that selling pressure was low. And this week, after a very minor test for supply below the previous close, price has pushed higher in response and established a new high. You'll probably find that the market's up to these highs now. I don't think there's a great deal of volume in this, and you'll probably find that the high is either there or there. Either way, the market's pushing up towards those highs of the range. And I would expect, seeing the volumes were pretty high up here, that there may be some resistance up at this level here. But there was a good push higher. This chart's quite understandable now. You can see the supply was drawn out. You can see that selling pressure was low. That allowed the market to move higher. It tested that again and found that selling pressure was low and has responded higher this week. So that's good and understandable. Pretty good chance the market will either test for supply early and then respond higher if selling pressure remains low, or just push straight up into this level here and attempt to consolidate. Aussie dollar currency futures have pushed up to this level more recently, following this shakeout in the background. Prices pushed up here, and now similar to the euro and the British pound, the market is attempting to consolidate within this bar's range. And this market's sort of halfway between the euro, which is down here, and the British pound, which is up here, and the Aussie dollar is about the middle. So it's certainly not a poor effort, but not as strong as the British pound at this point in time. Bitcoin futures are making a hard time of it. It's taken too long for this period of consolidation to take place. Here was the original lows of the range. They've moved down to this level now. The market's attempting to consolidate, but continuing to fail. You can see in the background this push higher, and this is where the market's attempting to consolidate now, in there, within this bar's range. Prices come back on top of it here and now here this week, and I would expect the market's probably going to make an attempt to consolidate in here. There may be a small response higher, but I think you're limited to this level at this point in time, because volume was lower this week, so selling pressure did ease somewhat. So you might find the market does make a modest attempt to push higher, but I don't think you're pushing above these bars lows, at least at this point in time. The market will probably push up to this sort of level and may drift lower. There may be a period of consolidation at this level here to really clear out the market a bit more before there is an attempt to push higher. Any ongoing weakness would see this level here come into play through there. So at the moment, the market's probably going to attempt to consolidate just above the 50,000 level. There may be a modest attempt to move higher because of the low selling pressure this week, but the spread of the bar suggests the market's intent on moving lower. That would be a narrower spread and a mid-bar close if there was a higher probability of a reasonable push higher in response. So I think it'll only be a half-hearted attempt to push higher, and the market will be more likely to attempt to consolidate just on top of this 50,000 level. Back to the US dollar just quickly. It's all pretty clear down here. Here's the previous support level in the background. This is the next level higher here. And you really would expect, if this market did push higher, especially on this bar here, that it would have been able to at least reach that level. That was your indication that the market is a bit soft. It's not particularly strong here. So there may well be an attempt to consolidate in here. Any ongoing weakness, and especially if the market flirts with that level, which I'll call the last gasp levels, then if the weakness continues to emerge, this is the next level lower down here. So you can see where the market is, where the market could have been. It could have pushed up to here, but it wasn't strong enough. It's drifted lower, and somewhere between 100.5 and 101 is a modest area of support in here. I'm not sure it's that strong. That's where the market's probably going to attempt to consolidate, at least in the near term. Okay, thanks for your time. See you next week. See ya.